The space around the human ship Endurance was quiet and dark. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge looking at the stars through the big window. She had been exploring space for 15 years but still loved seeing new places no one had ever been before. "Captain, we are getting some strange readings," said Officer Kim from her station. Her voice sounded worried. Elena walked over to look at Kim's screen. Numbers and lines moved across it in patterns she did not recognize. "What kind of readings?" "I don't know. The computer says there are ships out there, but they don't match anything in our files." Kim pressed some buttons. "They're big, Captain. Really big." Elena felt her stomach get tight. The Endurance was far from Earth, farther than any human ship had gone before. They were supposed to be alone out here. How many ships? At least 12. Maybe more. Kim looked up at her captain. "They're moving toward us." Elena pressed the button to talk to the whole ship. "All crew, this is the captain. We have unknown ships approaching. Everyone go to your emergency stations now." Around the ship, 200 people stopped what they were doing. Scientists put down their tools. Engineers left their machines. Cooks turned off their stoves. Everyone moved fast but tried not to panic. On the bridge, more officers came running in. Chief Science Officer Dr. Wright sat at his station and started working. "Captain, I'm trying to figure out what these ships are made of. The scans are showing materials I've never seen before. Can we talk to them?" Elena asked. Communications Officer Santos shook his head. "I've tried every frequency we know. They're not answering. Actually, I don't think they want to talk." Elena watched the dots on the screen get closer. Each dot was a ship bigger than anything humans had ever built. "How long until they reach us?" 10 minutes, Kim said quietly. Elena thought fast. The Endurance was not a fighting ship. It was made for exploring and learning, not for war. They had some small weapons for protection against space rocks and pirates, but nothing that could fight 12 giant alien ships. "Santos, send a message on all frequencies. Tell them we are peaceful explorers from Earth. Tell them we don't want to fight." Santos worked at his station. "Message sent, Captain." They waited. The alien ships kept coming. 5 minutes, Kim said. Elena looked around the bridge at her crew. These were good people. Smart people. They had families back on Earth. They did not deserve to die out here in the dark between stars. "Santos, any answer to our message?" "Nothing, Captain. They're not even slowing down." Dr. Wright looked up from his screen. His face was pale. "Captain, I'm reading massive energy buildup in their ships. Whatever they're planning to do, they're getting ready to do it." Elena made a decision. "Kim, prepare to run. Set course for the nearest human colony. Full speed. Course ready, Captain." "Santos, send one more message. Tell them we're leaving. Tell them we don't want any trouble." The alien ships were close now. Elena could see them on the main screen. They looked like metal mountains with strange spikes and glowing parts. They moved in perfect formation like they had practiced this many times before. "Captain," Dr. Wright said, his voice shaking. "Energy spike detected. They're charging some kind of weapon. Kim, go. Now." Kim's hands flew over her controls. The Endurance's engines roared to life. The ship started to turn away from the alien fleet. But it was too late. A wave of blue energy shot out from the lead alien ship. It moved faster than anything Elena had ever seen. The wave hit the Endurance like a giant invisible hand. Every light on the ship went out. Every screen went black. Every machine stopped working. The engines died. Even the air recycling systems went quiet. Elena felt her feet leave the floor as the ship's artificial gravity failed. Around her, the bridge crew floated in the darkness. Emergency lights should have come on, but they didn't. Nothing worked. Santos, Elena called out in the dark. Santos, are you okay? I'm here, Captain, came his voice from somewhere to her left. But everything's dead. Communications, engines, life support, everything. Elena felt around until she found a wall to push against. She floated toward where she thought the captain's chair was. Everyone sound off. Tell me you're alive. One by one, her bridge crew called out their names. They were all alive, but they were floating helpless in a dead ship. Through the big window, Elena could see the alien ships. They had stopped moving and were just sitting there, watching. Waiting. They disabled us, Elena said quietly. They could have destroyed us, but they disabled us instead. Why would they do that? Kim asked. Elena watched the alien ships and felt anger growing in her chest. These aliens had attacked without warning. They had not tried to talk. They had not given humans a chance to explain or leave peacefully. They had just attacked. Because they're afraid of us, Elena said. They saw our ship and got scared. So scared they had to stop us before we could do anything. Afraid of us? Dr. Wright sounded confused. But their ships are so much bigger than ours. Elena smiled in the darkness, but it was not a happy smile. Yes, they're afraid. And you know what? Maybe they should be. Outside the window, the alien ships began to move again. They were coming closer to the helpless human ship. Whatever they planned to do next, Elena knew it would not be good for her crew. But Elena Vasquez had been in space for 15 years. She had survived equipment failures, space storms, and pirate attacks. She was not going to let some scared aliens hurt her people without a fight. Listen up, everyone, she said to her floating crew. We're not dead yet. And as long as we're alive, we can find a way out of this. Those aliens made one big mistake. What mistake? Santos asked. Elena's smile got wider and colder. They left us alive. 2 hours had passed since the alien attack. The Endurance drifted in space like a dead whale. Inside the ship, Captain Elena Vasquez floated through the dark hallways with a small flashlight. The beam cut through the blackness as she checked on her crew. Most people were gathered in the main dining hall. It was the biggest room on the ship and had windows so they could see outside. Emergency air bottles gave them oxygen to breathe, but Elena knew they would not last long with 200 people. Captain, called Chief Engineer Marcus Torres. He was a big man with rough hands and grease always under his fingernails. I've been checking the damage. That weapon they used, it fried every electronic circuit on the ship. Even the backup systems are dead. Elena floated over to him. How long to fix it? Marcus shook his head. With normal tools and parts. Maybe never. That energy wave burned out everything with a computer chip. The engines, life support, communications, even the coffee makers. But you have an idea, Elena said. She could see it in his eyes. Maybe. But it would be crazy. I'd have to rebuild basic systems from scratch using old parts that don't have computer chips. Stuff from the emergency repair kit that's still mechanical. Before Elena could answer, someone by the windows shouted. Captain! Look outside. Elena pushed off from the wall and floated to the nearest window. What she saw made her blood run cold. 3 alien ships had moved very close to the Endurance. They were so big they blocked out the stars. As Elena watched, bright lights appeared on the sides of the ships. The lights were cutting through the hull of her ship like hot knives through butter. "They're coming inside," whispered Dr. Wright. The cutting stopped. Elena could hear new sounds through the ship's walls. Clanging metal. Footsteps that didn't sound human. Voices speaking in a language no human had ever heard. "Everyone stay calm," Elena said loudly. "Remember your emergency training. We are peaceful explorers. We will cooperate and try to communicate." But Elena's hand moved to the small knife on her belt. She hoped they would not need to fight, but she was ready if they did. The aliens came through the holes they had cut. Elena got her first look at humanity's enemies. They were tall, maybe 8 feet, with gray skin that looked like stone. They had 4 arms and wore dark armor that covered most of their bodies. Their faces were long with big black eyes and no nose that Elena could see. They moved like soldiers, careful and alert. The lead alien said something in its language. The words sounded like rocks grinding together. When no one answered, it pointed a weapon at the nearest human. "Wait," Elena called out. She pushed off from the wall and floated toward the alien. "I'm the captain of this ship. I speak for my people." The alien looked at her. Its black eyes showed no emotion Elena could understand. It said something to the other aliens. More aliens came through the holes carrying strange devices. For the next hour, the aliens worked. They pointed their devices at everything on the ship. The devices made beeping sounds and flashed lights. Elena realized they were scanning and recording everything they found. The aliens seemed confused by human technology. They would scan something, then scan it again. They talked to each other in their grinding voices. Elena could tell they were puzzled. One alien found a tablet computer. It was dead like everything else, but the alien spent a long time scanning it. Another alien found the ship's kitchen and seemed very interested in the microwave oven. Dr. Wright floated next to Elena. "They're cataloging our technology," he whispered. "But they seem surprised by what they're finding." "What do you mean?" "Look at them. They expected to find either very advanced technology or very primitive technology. Our stuff is neither. It's different from what they know." Elena watched the aliens work. Dr. Wright was right. The aliens acted like they were seeing something they had never seen before. Something that didn't fit their ideas about how technology should work. Meanwhile, Marcus Torres had floated away from the main group. Elena saw him disappear into a maintenance tunnel that was too small for the tall aliens to follow. She hoped he was working on his crazy plan to fix the ship. The aliens began taking prisoners. They pointed their weapons at humans and made gestures that clearly meant "come with us." They took Dr. Wright first, probably because he was the science officer. Then they took some of the engineers and computer specialists. "Where are you taking them?" Elena demanded. The lead alien looked at her but did not answer. Elena realized these aliens had no interest in communicating with humans. To them, humans were just another species to study and control. But as the hours passed, Elena noticed something important. The aliens were being careful not to hurt anyone. They could have killed all the humans easily, but they didn't. They wanted prisoners alive. They need us for something, Elena thought. They're studying our technology and taking our people. But why? She got her answer when one of the aliens brought a device to her. The device showed pictures on a small screen. The pictures showed human ships, but not ships Elena recognized. These ships looked older and different from the Endurance. The alien pointed at the pictures, then at Elena. It was asking if she knew about these ships. Elena's heart jumped. The pictures showed human ships that looked like they were from Earth's early space age, maybe 100 years ago. Ships that were supposed to be lost forever. You've met humans before, Elena said quietly. That's why you're afraid of us. The alien stared at her with its black eyes. Elena couldn't tell what it was thinking, but she knew she was right. These aliens had fought humans before, long ago. And something about that fight had scared them so much they still remembered it. More aliens came aboard the Endurance. They brought bigger scanning devices and started taking apart pieces of human equipment. Elena watched them work and realized they were not just studying human technology. They were trying to understand it. But Elena smiled to herself. Let them study all they wanted. Human technology wasn't special because of what it could do. It was special because of how humans thought about problems. And these aliens, for all their advanced weapons and big ships, thought like machines. Humans thought like humans. And that was something no alien could understand by scanning their equipment. Somewhere in the maintenance tunnels, Marcus Torres was proving that point. Elena could hear very quiet sounds of someone working with metal tools. The aliens were so busy with their scanning that they didn't notice. Elena hoped Marcus could work fast. Because she was starting to get an idea. A dangerous idea. But first, they needed power. 6 hours after the aliens boarded the Endurance, Captain Elena Vasquez felt a tiny vibration through the ship's walls. It was so small that only someone who had lived on ships for 15 years would notice it. The aliens didn't notice at all. Marcus Torres had done it. Somewhere deep in the ship's belly, he had gotten something working again. Elena was floating in the dining hall with about 50 other crew members. The aliens had taken many people away for questioning, but they left the rest here under guard. 2 tall gray aliens watched them with their black eyes and energy weapons. Elena needed to tell her crew that power was coming back, but she couldn't let the aliens know. She floated over to Security Chief Sarah Chen, a small woman with quick eyes and faster hands. Sarah, Elena whispered, pretending to comfort her. Can you feel that? Sarah was quiet for a moment. Then her eyes got wide. The ship's heartbeat, she whispered back. Marcus got something running. Pass the word quietly. But don't let the guards see. Sarah nodded and began floating between crew members. She would hug someone or pat their shoulder, and whisper a few words. Soon everyone in the room knew that their ship was waking up. Elena watched the alien guards. They stood perfectly still like statues. They never talked to each other or moved unless they had to. Elena realized that these aliens followed orders exactly and never thought for themselves. That was their weakness. Elena made her move. She floated toward one of the guards and started talking loudly. Please, I need to check on my injured crew members in the medical bay. Some of my people are hurt and need help. The guard looked at her but said nothing. Elena kept talking, waving her hands and acting worried. While the guard watched her, Sarah Chen moved silently behind the second guard. Elena had learned something important about these aliens. They wore their weapons on their belts, but the weapons had safety locks. The aliens had to press 2 buttons at the same time to fire. It was a smart safety feature, but it took time. Sarah didn't need time. She hit the second guard in the back of his long neck with her fist. The alien made a choking sound and fell forward. Before the first guard could reach for his weapon, 3 more crew members grabbed his arms. Don't hurt them, Elena ordered quickly. We're not killers. They tied up the guards with electrical cables and put them in a storage closet. Sarah took their weapons and studied them quickly. I think I can figure out how these work, she said. The trigger system is different, but the basic idea is the same. Elena pressed the wall communication button, hoping Marcus had fixed the internal systems. Her voice echoed through the ship. All crew, this is the captain. The ship is coming back online. It's time to take back our home. Around the ship, humans began to move. They had been waiting and planning during the long hours of capture. Now they put their plans into action. In the engine room, Marcus Torres smiled as he heard Elena's voice. He had been working non-stop to rebuild the ship's basic systems using parts that didn't need computer chips. Old mechanical switches, hand-cranked generators, and backup systems from the early days of space travel. The aliens had disabled everything electronic, but they didn't understand that humans built backups for their backups. Marcus had found systems that were older than the aliens probably thought possible. "Computer, this is Marcus," he said into his radio. "I've got life support running on emergency power. Gravity will come back in 10 minutes. Lights are working on decks 1 through 3. In the medical bay, Dr. Wright was being questioned by 2 aliens. They were showing him pictures and making him point to different human body parts. Dr. Wright was answering their questions, but he was also learning about them. He noticed that the aliens had trouble seeing in different kinds of light. Their eyes were made for the blue light their ships used, but human ships used white light. In white light, the aliens seemed almost blind. When the ship's lights came back on, Dr. Wright was ready. He grabbed a medical scanner and shined its bright white beam into the aliens' faces. They stumbled backward, covering their eyes with their hands. Dr. Wright ran for the door and locked it behind him. He could hear the aliens hitting the door, but human doors were built to survive space emergencies. They wouldn't break easily. In the computer center, engineer Lisa Park was tied to a chair while aliens studied human computers. When the lights came back on, Lisa noticed something the aliens hadn't. The computers were dead, but the screens were working on emergency power. Lisa knew every circuit in those computers. She began to rock her chair back and forth until she could reach a hidden panel with her foot. Inside the panel was a manual override switch for the ship's fire safety system. She pressed the switch with her toe. Water began spraying from every ceiling sprinkler on the deck. The aliens jumped back in surprise. Their scanning equipment sparked and smoked when the water hit it. Lisa used the confusion to break free from her ropes. She grabbed a fire extinguisher and sprayed foam at the aliens. They couldn't see through the white foam, and their equipment was ruined. All over the ship, humans were fighting back. But they weren't fighting like soldiers. They were fighting like engineers and scientists and cooks and janitors. They used what they knew and what they had. In the kitchen, Cook Rodriguez trapped 2 aliens by turning on all the ovens and filling the room with heat and steam. The aliens, who came from a cold world, couldn't handle the temperature. In the workshop, Mechanic Johnson used magnetic clamps meant for holding metal parts. He turned up the power and stuck the clamps to the aliens' metal armor. They couldn't move while wearing 100-pound magnets. But the most important fight was happening in the cargo bay. This was where the aliens had set up their main base on the ship. 20 aliens were there with their leader and their most important equipment. Sarah Chen led a team of 12 humans into the cargo bay. They didn't try to fight the aliens directly. Instead, they did something no alien would expect. They started throwing things. The cargo bay was full of containers holding everything the Endurance needed for its mission. Food containers, toolboxes, spare parts, scientific equipment. Sarah's team began hurling these containers at the aliens like giant bullets. The aliens tried to use their energy weapons, but they couldn't hit moving targets that changed direction every second. Human throwing was not logical or predictable. It was creative and chaotic. While the aliens were dodging flying containers, Sarah and 2 others crawled under the cargo to reach the alien equipment. They began unplugging cables and pushing buttons randomly. We don't need to understand their technology, Sarah thought. We just need to break it. Alarms began sounding from the alien base. Sarah had found something important. She didn't know what it was, but it was making a lot of noise. The alien leader shouted orders in its grinding language. The other aliens stopped fighting and began running toward their damaged equipment. That was exactly what Sarah wanted. While the aliens were busy trying to fix their machines, the humans escaped through the air vents. Elena's voice came over the ship's communication system again. All crew, report to emergency stations. We're taking back our ship, one room at a time. Remember, we don't need to beat them with technology. We just need to be more human than they can handle. Around the ship, Elena could hear sounds of fighting, running, and things breaking. It wasn't pretty or organized, but it was working. The aliens had expected to fight either primitives with clubs or advanced beings with energy weapons. They had not expected to fight humans with fire extinguishers and cooking equipment and pure stubborn creativity. Elena smiled as she floated toward the bridge. It was time to take back the heart of her ship. Captain Elena Vasquez floated onto the bridge of the Endurance and felt her boots touch the floor. Marcus Torres had brought the gravity back online. Around her, the bridge was coming back to life. Lights flickered on, screens showed basic information, and the air felt fresh again. Status report, Elena said as her crew took their stations. Main engine still dead, reported Kim from navigation. But Marcus has the maneuvering thrusters working. We can move, just not very fast. Communications working on short range, said Santos. I can talk to our people around the ship, but not to Earth. Weapons? Elena asked Sarah Chen, who had taken over the security station. Sarah shook her head. The mining lasers are still fried. But Marcus thinks he can get them working in a different way. Elena looked out the main window at the alien ships. They hung in space like metal mountains, waiting. She could see lights flashing on their hulls. Probably emergency signals as they tried to figure out what was happening on the human ship. They think we're still helpless, Elena said. Let's keep it that way. Santos, try to contact the alien fleet. Tell them we surrender and want to talk. Santos worked at his station. Message sent, Captain. Elena knew the aliens would not answer, but the message would make them think the humans were giving up. That was what Elena wanted them to think. Marcus Torres came onto the bridge. His clothes were torn and his face was black with grease, but he was smiling. Captain, I've done something crazy with our mining equipment, he said. Remember those asteroid mining lasers we used to cut up rocks? Of course. Well, I rewired them to work like the old laser cutting tools from 100 years ago. No computer chips, just raw power and manual controls. They won't be as accurate as before, but they'll cut through anything. Elena felt hope growing in her chest. How many do we have working? 6 lasers. 3 on each side of the ship. But Captain, that's not the best part. Marcus grinned. I also figured out how to turn our cargo bay into a giant slingshot. What do you mean? We have magnetic cargo launchers for moving heavy containers. I hooked them up to manual controls and cranked up the power. We can shoot anything in our cargo bay at enemy ships like a cannonball. Dr. Wright came onto the bridge holding a data pad. Captain, I've learned something important about these aliens. They see mostly in blue light. That's why their ships glow blue and their weapons are blue. But human lasers are red light. I don't think their eyes can see red very well. Elena thought about this information. Red lasers that the aliens couldn't see well, and a ship they thought was still disabled. She was starting to get an idea. Marcus, can you aim those lasers manually? Yes, ma'am. Just like the old days when humans had to do everything by hand. Good. Sarah, how many aliens are still on our ship? Maybe 30 scattered around different decks. My teams have most of them trapped in storage rooms. Elena walked to the captain's chair and sat down. For the first time in hours, she felt like she was in control again. All right, people. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to show these aliens why they were right to be afraid of humans. Outside the ship, the alien fleet was getting impatient. Elena could see small ships leaving the big vessels and heading toward the Endurance. They were coming to check on their boarding party. Santos, patch me through to the whole ship, Elena ordered. You're on, Captain. All crew, this is Captain Vasquez. In 2 minutes, we're going to attack the alien fleet. I know that sounds crazy. Their ships are bigger and stronger than ours. But we have something they don't have. We have human stubbornness. Around the ship, people stopped what they were doing to listen. These aliens think they know how space battles work. They think bigger ships always win. They think better technology always wins. But they've never fought humans before. Not real humans. Elena looked out at the alien ships and her voice got harder. They disabled our ship because they were afraid of it. They were afraid of us. Well, we're going to give them a reason to be afraid. We're going to fight them with everything we have. Mining lasers, cargo launchers, and pure human stubbornness. Are you ready? All over the ship, voices answered her. Ready, Captain. Marcus, fire up those mining lasers. Kim, point us at the nearest alien ship. Sarah, load the cargo launchers with everything heavy we can find. The Endurance began to move. Slowly at first, then faster as Marcus got more power to the thrusters. The alien ship seemed surprised that the human vessel was moving at all. Target the lead ship, Elena ordered. The big one in the center. Lasers ready, Marcus reported from the engineering station he had set up on the bridge. The alien ships began to move. They were turning to face the small human ship that dared to challenge them. Elena could see weapon ports opening on their hulls. Fire! Elena shouted. 6 red laser beams shot out from the Endurance. They were not the clean, precise beams of advanced technology. They were rough, powerful, and angry. They hit the alien ship's hull and began cutting through it like hot knives through ice. The alien ship's shields flashed and sparked. Elena realized that their shields were designed to stop blue energy weapons, not red ones. The human lasers were a different type of energy that the alien defenses couldn't handle properly. It's working! Kim shouted. Their shields are failing. Cargo launchers ready, Sarah reported. Fire everything. The magnetic launchers shot containers full of metal parts, tools, and equipment at the alien ships. The containers moved fast, much faster than the aliens expected. They slammed into alien hulls and exploded, sending pieces of metal flying in all directions. The alien fleet began shooting back. Blue energy beams reached out toward the Endurance, but Elena was ready for them. Kim, random evasive maneuvers. Don't follow any pattern. Just dodge however feels right. Kim's hands danced over her controls. The Endurance twisted and turned through space like a fish swimming through water. The alien weapons were designed to hit targets that moved in logical, predictable ways. They couldn't hit a ship that moved like it was being flown by someone having fun. Marcus, target their weapons. Elena ordered. The mining lasers focused on the alien weapon ports. Red beams cut through blue energy systems, causing explosions that lit up the alien hulls like fireworks. Dr. Wright was watching his sensors. Captain, I'm reading massive confusion in their fleet. Their communications are going crazy. I think they don't understand what's happening. Elena smiled grimly. They're trying to fight a machine war against humans. Santos, open a channel to the alien fleet. Channel open. Attention alien ships, Elena said in her strongest captain voice. You disabled our ship because you were afraid of it. You were right to be afraid. But you made one mistake. You left us alive. And humans don't stay down when someone tries to keep us down. More containers shot out from the Endurance's cargo launchers. These ones were filled with the ship's spare parts and broken electronics. When they hit the alien ships, they spread clouds of metal pieces that confused the alien sensors. You wanted to study human technology, Elena continued. Here's the most important thing about human technology. It's not about having the best computers or the strongest weapons. It's about humans who refuse to give up. The lead alien ship was badly damaged now. Its blue lights were flickering and it was moving slowly. But Elena wasn't done. Sarah, do we have any of those emergency beacon rockets? Yes, ma'am. About 20 of them. Load them into the launchers. But first, fill them with everything flammable we can find. Cooking oil, cleaning chemicals, anything that burns. Elena's plan was simple and terrible. The beacon rockets were meant to signal for help, but they could also carry other things. Things that would make very big fires when they hit alien ships. The first rocket hit an alien ship near its engine section. Fire bloomed across the alien hull as the cooking oil ignited. The aliens had never seen fire used as a weapon in space. Their damage control systems didn't know how to handle it. More rockets. Elena ordered. The Endurance shot rocket after rocket at the alien fleet. Each one carried fire and chaos. The alien ships began to retreat, pulling back from the small human vessel that fought like nothing they had ever seen. But Elena wasn't finished yet. She had one more surprise for the aliens who had thought they could easily defeat humanity. Captain Elena Vasquez watched the alien fleet retreat and knew this fight was not over. The aliens were pulling back to think, but they would return with more ships and better plans. She had to end this now, while they were still confused and afraid. Marcus, she called to her chief engineer. How much power do we have left? Maybe 30%, Captain. Those lasers use a lot of energy. Elena looked at the main screen. 3 alien ships were badly damaged and drifting. But 9 more ships were still healthy and dangerous. They were moving into a new formation, probably getting ready for another attack. Santos, are you getting any signals from those damaged alien ships? Santos listened to his equipment. Yes, ma'am. Lots of emergency calls. And Captain, I'm picking up something else. The aliens are talking about something called the Old Enemy and the ghost ships. Elena felt a chill run down her back. She remembered the pictures the aliens had shown her earlier. Pictures of old human ships that were supposed to be lost. Dr. Wright, those pictures the aliens showed us. What did you think of those ships? Dr. Wright looked up from his science station. They looked like early colony ships, Captain. From maybe 80 years ago. Ships that went out to explore but never came back. Elena pieced it together in her mind. The aliens had fought humans before, long ago. Ships full of colonists and explorers who had run into the alien empire. Those humans had probably been outnumbered and outgunned, just like the Endurance was now. But somehow, those long ago humans had scared the aliens so badly that they still remembered the fear. Santos, try to hack into the alien communications. I want to know what they're really afraid of. While Santos worked, Elena planned her final attack. She had one card left to play, and it was the most dangerous one of all. Sarah, how many of our people are trained for spacewalk repair work? About 50, Captain. Why? Elena smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone about to do something very dangerous and very stupid. Because we're going to board their ships. The bridge went quiet. Everyone stared at Elena like she had lost her mind. Captain, Dr. Wright said carefully, their ships are much bigger than ours. They probably have thousands of crew members. Exactly, Elena said. Which is why they'll never expect it. Marcus, do we still have the mining suits? Marcus nodded slowly. Yes, ma'am. 20 heavy work suits designed for asteroid mining. They're built to survive anything. Good. Sarah, pick 19 volunteers. People who aren't afraid of small spaces and hard work. Elena turned to the main screen and studied the alien ships. They were waiting for her to either surrender or run away. They had no idea what humans could do when they stopped following the rules. Santos suddenly looked up from his station. Captain, I broke into their communications. You need to hear this. He put the alien voices on the bridge speakers. The words were translated by the ship's computer into basic English. Command ship to fleet. The humans are fighting like the old enemy. They use fire and metal as weapons. They do not follow proper battle rules. Another voice answered. Fleet commander, we must retreat. These humans have the same madness as the ghost ships. They will sacrifice themselves to hurt us. A third voice, older and more frightened, spoke. 80 years ago, a single human colony ship destroyed 6 of our finest vessels before we stopped it. The humans filled their ship with explosives and rammed our command ship. They sang while they died. Elena felt tears in her eyes. Those long ago humans had given their lives to protect other human colonies. They had made the aliens so afraid that the aliens still had nightmares about fighting humans. They died so other humans could live, Elena said quietly. And now these aliens think every human ship is full of crazy people who will die before giving up. Santos was still listening to the alien communications. Captain, they're arguing about whether to destroy us or run away. Some of them want to kill us before we can ram their ships. Elena made her decision. We're going to give them exactly what they're afraid of. But we're not going to die doing it. She pressed the button to talk to the whole ship. All crew, this is the captain. I'm about to tell you the plan for winning this fight. It's dangerous and it's crazy, but it's also very human. Around the ship, people stopped working to listen. 80 years ago, humans fought these aliens and scared them so badly they still have nightmares about it. Those humans won by doing something the aliens never expected. They used their ship as a weapon. Elena looked out at the alien fleet. We're going to do the same thing. But we're going to live through it. The plan Elena explained was simple and terrifying. They would use the mining suits to put a small crew on the alien command ship. While that crew caused chaos inside, the Endurance would ram the command ship, but at the last second, the mining suits would blow a hole in the alien hull and the Endurance would fly through it instead of into it. It's never been done before, Elena admitted. But that's what makes it human. 20 people volunteered for the boarding mission. Elena would lead them personally. Saracen would command the ship while Elena was gone. They put on the heavy mining suits and loaded into the cargo bay. The suits were built like small spaceships, with their own air and power. They had cutting tools, magnetic boots, and small rocket thrusters. Remember, Elena said over the suit radios. Our job is not to fight their whole crew. Our job is to break things and confuse them. Make them think there are 100 humans on their ship instead of 20. The cargo bay doors opened. 20 humans in mining suits flew through space toward the largest alien ship. They moved fast and stayed close together, looking like a cloud of metal asteroids. The aliens saw them coming but couldn't figure out what they were looking at. The humans were too small to be attack ships and too fast to be escape pods. Elena's suit hit the alien hull first. She used her cutting torch to burn through the metal. Behind her, 19 other humans did the same thing. In seconds, they had 20 holes in the alien ship. Inside the alien ship, alarms started screaming. The aliens had never dealt with boarders who came through the walls instead of through doors. Elena and her team spread out through the ship. They cut power cables, broke computer screens, and set small fires wherever they could. They moved fast, never staying in one place long enough for the aliens to catch them. The aliens tried to fight back, but their weapons were too big for the narrow hallways of their own ship. The humans were small and quick, and they knew how to use the ship's own systems against it.